Welcome to the WNBF UK Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the WNBF UK Podcast with me, Sarah Glanville, as your host. Today is a great day. We are here with undeniably the greatest natural female bodybuilder in the world right now. Domination is the only word to describe this lady's 2022 season. WNBF Women's Bodybuilding Pro Overall World Champion, DFAC Pro Overall World Champion, and NPA British Champion, all in 2022. ZOE LEEMING-WATTS, hello and how are you?
Yeah, very good, thanks.
Good, I'm glad. Zoe, I don't even know what to say. 2022 was some year for you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Has it sunk in yet?
I don't think it's sunk in till about Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I had like people coming up to me in the gym and be like, "You're that lady, ain't you? The world champion."
You're
So,
like,
yeah,
that's me. Amazing. I think, like, when I was thinking about what we could cover in today's episode, I honestly just have to hear your secrets. I know we've got so much to get through today, and I know that boys and girls alike, the number of people that are going to be tuning in to hear all your trade secrets on this one's going to be epic. So I guess the only place for us to start really is for you to talk us through your epic 2022 season, Zoe.
Yeah, so, well, the original plan was for me just to do one competition in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
So obviously, when you're a DFAC pro, you don't have to do all the qualifiers or anything like that. You literally just do the one competition.
Yeah.
And in 2019, I'd already won my first pro show anyway. But then I sort of like taken like 2.5 years sort of like off season before I started to prep for 2022. But yeah, that was my main focus. So I normally start my prep in January, but I started it a little bit later this time, which obviously worked. So I didn't do it until the May, and then sort of like got to about the June, July, and I was coming in really quick because when I start dieting, my body just reacts with it straight away. And then the coach Rob Waterhouse, he said, "Look, you know what? Maybe you should just pick." Well, at first he said, "Pick a non-drug tested fed." He said to put me sort of like under a bit of pressure. He knows my condition that I've come in. He said, "No, pick that." And I did mention Body Power at NEC in Birmingham, the two bros and that, and he was like, "That you sort of like looking a bit too big there. You know, the girls in the women's physique are pretty massive. So it's like, you know, pick a different one." And I couldn't find anything. So the only thing that I could see was the MPA. So I just sort of like tipped up. I'd only done like 10 weeks dieting, and then I won that. And then the British, and they're like, "You're amazing." I was like, "Yeah, I've only done 10 weeks." And then won their British, won their overall. But obviously, I'm an amateur in that. So the girls that were against me, and I feel sorry for them in a way. So I will stick up for them because obviously they're stepping on stage with a pro. You know, which probably had like a good sort of couple of years of training. So yeah, won the overall. And then it was funny enough, I met Steph, and she was like, "You know what, maybe you should do the supernaturals as well." And me being honest with different federations and stuff, saying not too much, I didn't know whether or not, you know, being clicky and stuff, that, you know, the D would get a bit funny with me competing with the WNBF, but no, Vicky McCann was absolutely totally supportive of it, you know. And if anything, I think the more competitions you do, it'll be better preparation for them when you go to sort of your main competition. So yes, I did the supernaturals, and again, I wasn't really ready. Like stepping on stage with like the body fit and all that. I was thinking, "Oh, here we go." I was like, "I've got no chance." It's like, you know, everyone's got a different sort of physique. So I was like, "Nah, not a chance." And then I won the overall, and then won my pro card, and I was like, that at that point, that was amazing. It's just I think to get another pro card as well, and the WNBF is brilliant, the DFAC's brilliant. So to have two top sort of, in my opinion, to have two pro cards in the two top natural federations in the world, really, it's amazing. It's sort of like, you know, and so then I had two world competitions to go to. So yeah, and it's luckily enough because I've been in the army. I mean, I've been in the army 19 years, and I'm in the PT Corps for anybody that is listening that don't know. Yes, and like I pushed it up my chain of commands to my boss and said, look, you know, I'm going to the World Championships at the Cayman Islands. I've got to get to LA. Is there any chance of a bit of money? And then the army are quite supportive of it, you know, that they can't give everything, but they're paying for my flights. And then, you know, on the flip side of that, I'm putting in fact, it's next week actually, I'm putting my WNBF, which I don't want to really sort of let go, my WNBF swords.
Yeah.
And my DFAC medal and trophy in what we call the Army PT Corps Museum.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm putting that in there next week because there's like a big sort of conference. Because I think, like, in my opinion, I've been trying to push it in the army to get more people interested. And when like people go down there to order shot, like, oh yeah, you know, we really want to do that. Oh, that looks good. So when they go into the museum, and we're only going to gather dust in my house anyway, really. So, you know, and then when obviously I touch wood, I live till I'm 100, but when I pass away, like, you know, in years time, it's good sort of people to look. And we have a Facebook page for the army guys and the RAF as well for natural bodybuilding. We've got 60 members, so, you know, obviously because we get drug tested in the army, we can't take anything and stuff, so it's good sort of like page to have to sort of get more army girls and army guys interested in bodybuilding. So yeah,
that's amazing. And I mean, you totally, I mean, the achievements that you've had, that's the right place for those trophies, Zoe. Like, you totally smashed it last year. And we're going to talk a little bit about the army and later on in our chat, and I really want to deep dive into that. I never realized that they were so supportive of that, to like look after your flights and stuff. That's amazing.
I love it, absolutely love it. I mean, don't get me wrong, and I will be honest, there's a few sort of guys that I've come across in the army and they feel a little bit intimidated.
No wonder.
In the gym and that, they're like, and they just stare, and I hate it. And my missus, like, she said, you're so rude in the gym sometimes. I'm like, I have to put my hood up, so they're just staring constantly. I'm like, but yeah, they just feel a little bit like sometimes a little bit rude, but then when they get to know me, like, because I'm so chilled out, I'm like, look, you know what? You want some tips on that? Just come over and I'll just like beast you.
Love it. I love it. So I mean, what an amazing season, like, and I love that you're like, I was kind of not even ready and I stepped on this stage and I won. But you're right, you've been a pro athlete now for a number of years, and as you say, stepping onto amateur stages and other federations, you are still a pro, and you're a pro in a really highly respected natural federation with your DFAC pro status. So it is, you know, you're coming up against people who are still chasing that and trying to get to that level. So but you absolutely blew us all away last year. It was amazing, Zoe. So
I wrote a name down actually because I want to mention Sam Quinn. Sam Quinn, because she comes second to me in the WNBF. And when I kept it quiet, and then I tipped up to the supernaturals. I just want to say something now. I mean, she looked at me and she was like, well, I won't swear, but you can see what I'm saying, And she looked at me and I was like, and you know what? If I hadn't competed, I think she was good enough to get it as well. But yeah, that's what I mean. I can see like how females were like a little bit probably like a bit crap about it, because I'm thinking, you know what? She's an amateur and she's got that, obviously, that mass as well, because a lot of, you know, but she's the one to watch out for.
Well, there you go. No, and people, a lot of people are knocking down the door. Do you know that always happens? You've got people who are ready around the same time, and obviously if you've someone like yourselves come in and rightfully stood on any stage that you want to stand on, and I love that Vicky's been supportive of you standing on the WNBF stage. You know, we love to compete, and that's what we're here to do, you know, is to compete and get the stage time. So it's great that Vicky was supportive of you coming along and trying at the WNBF and with NPA. But you know, if Sam's knocking on the door, she's just got to come back. She'll get it next time. You've got your pro card now. You can't compete with them anymore. You're on the WNBF pro stage now too. So it's awesome.
There's a few females that, you know what, it's sort of, I've got them in the back of my head, and I think, you know, one day they might be on stage with me, and that's what I think pushes me to sort of think, you know what, they're not going to beat me. I'm just going to get bigger and stronger.
You've got, even, you know, I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you are at the front runner, people are just chasing you behind you, and that's what's got to keep you motivated, isn't it? So you won your WNBF Pro card at Supernaturals, and you earned your invite to the world stage in LA. I guess I'm keen to understand, because I know that you obviously went to the Caymans and stuff, and you've went abroad previously and competed in world competitions before. How did that WNBF experience compare to other federations that you have competed with, both at home and abroad?
With the WNBF? Yeah, I think it depends. Like it's what I've learned with bodybuilding. Sometimes it depends on as well what year you compete.
Yeah.
So like some federations, you'll have loads of athletes competing, and then that's obviously, you know, you'll have lots of competition. And then like, so for example, in 2019 when I competed with the DFAC, I had like 4 or 5 girls, women's physique on stage, for example. And then when I went to the DFAC in 2022, it was only me and one other. But then it was like, and I, you know, it's obviously I come first, but the girl, because there was no pros, there was like me and an amateur. So probably unfair to her, really. But yeah, with the WNBF this year, it put me on my toes more than the DFAC, because one, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I did do a bit of digging, and my partner, my wife, she's all over it, because she's like, you tell her to do some stalking, she will find out who I'm competing against. Like, I don't know how she did it, and she's gone, this is the person that you need to watch out for. So how did you find out that? You know, like, she found out a few girls that I was competing against with WNBF. So it's like, you know, and the girl that comes second to me, I'm not too sure what her name is. I think she's at least 60 as well. She'd obviously been undefeated.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
Yeah, and I was like, I looked at pictures of her, and I was like thinking, you know what, for a 6-year-old woman, she's shredded. But then psychologically I was thinking, well, I've got a bit more size on her, right? I need to come in uber shredded for this competition. So I think with the WNBF, I felt like I had more competition, and I didn't know which way it was going to go, because like I said, with this woman, she was undefeated. And the thing is, she had beaten a woman who I think is, I don't know if she's a WNBF Pro, Yvette Arthur. She beat me when I was an amateur.
I see.
And I was like thinking, if I've come third to Yvette, then this woman that's beat Yvette, there's no way I'm going to beat her. So I was like thinking, and then when obviously they got the call outs, and she was looking me up and down in the changing room as well, saying about my glutes and my hamstrings. And then I come first to that. I was like thinking, you know what? It put me on my toes. But when I won it, I couldn't believe it that I actually won, because I thought just me and her left. But yeah, with the WNBF, I think there's a lot more categories as well with the WNBF. So I think it's more suited to. It gives more options. So if you're in between, say, a women's physique and, I don't know, I'm just giving an example, of figure, you can more be suited to body, which, you know, the DFAC don't have. So I think it's better to have a lot more categories, because you might be suited to something else. So and obviously there was a lot more competitors. So yeah, it did put me on my toes a bit. And, you know, with both federations that I've competed with as well, even going back to the MPA with Michael Phillips, I mean, he's awesome. Every federation that I've competed with has made you feel welcome, and it was an awesome atmosphere. And after, you know, it was brilliant, you know, once you've competed and stuff and that, you know, even backstage and stuff, it's just brilliant to make it enjoyable out there, rather than thinking, you know, because you've all gone through pretty much the same prep. It's, you know, and everyone's gone through the same process, unless you're like unlucky and you're starving and you're not on as much food as me and actually enjoy my prep. That's what that's what the thing is. That's what you get some people that have like had a really bad prep and then don't enjoy it.
Yeah, totally.
Whereas I've not gone one day when I'm hungry. So I'm very lucky. Very lucky.
Yeah. I mean, seeing you on stage at World, Zoe, like I think if I wasn't screaming as loud as I was for you, I'd be speechless, because you were honestly shredded. Like, your conditioning, your striated glutes, you're just phenomenal. And I think you honestly gave probably most of the pro men a bit of a run for their money on condition.
I'd love to get on stage with some of the pro men.
Yeah, I think you would challenge a few people up there with your conditioning. And I mean, just as a female athlete, it's a lot harder to achieve that level of conditioning. So I think that I'd love for you to talk to me, and I'm sure our listeners would agree, about how you've been able to achieve that. I'm going to say superhuman level of conditioning because I think that's the right word to describe it. So do you want to talk to us about that? And not to be hungry as well. I'm interested how you manage this.
Yeah, I think first of all, obviously, when I started to compete, it wasn't until 2016. So really, I haven't like competed that long.
Yeah.
If you look at it sort of over the years. But then when I started going back now, I started weight training around about 2015. And it's when I got deployed to Afghanistan. And we had no gym out there or anything like that. And being PT corps, they had all the equipment in this ISO container. I was like, why don't we just make a gym? So then I made a gym for the guys out there, which was brilliant because I didn't really have a lot to do out there anyway.
Yeah.
And then that's when I sort of got into weight training and stuff. And I just do like all over body workouts and, throw a bit of CV in there and that. And then when I got back from Afghanistan, I mean, I looked pretty ripped as well because when I was out there for 9 months, I weren't drinking any alcohol or anything. So I was just eating normal because I do eat like, I'm on one of them type of girls that I've probably got a high metabolism. I come from a family where, I eat pie, chips and mash and stuff like that. So it's very, very big meals my mum used to do me when she was alive. So for me to like say to diet, my body just reacts to it. It's like, well, what you going? I'm not having that pie chips anymore. What's all this sweet fried chicken and broccoli sort of thing? So I started obviously weight training, and then it was I got back, and then there was a woman in Wales when I was training out there. She was gone, you know what? In a gym, I think K2 gym it was in Bridgend, and she's like, you've got quite a good physique. She said, you know what, maybe you should just think about competing. Now she said to me my physique was that good, that as in non-natural. I was like, look, can't take crap. And I hate people straight away that it's, I'm in the army, is there any sort of like natural feds? And then she pointed me in the right direction to a girl called Amy Lloyd, and then pointed towards the BNBF. And then I did my first competition in 2017. In that process as well, I found a guy, a coach called Nick Openshaw, who took me through a bit of posing. He gave me a bit of a diet plan. And I mean, no disrespect, he's a really good guy, lovely guy. But I was hardly on any carbs. So it was I was going through the motions with my training, and I was like, and then when it got to my first qualifier, my condition, I looked like, when you get the Men's Health magazine, but a women's version, just like soft looking, but a bit tight.
Yeah.
It was like, okay. And then he even said to me, he said, so, because I come second in my qualifier in Birmingham, and it's like, oh yeah, your condition looks all right, but you look soft, so what you been doing? And I'm like, well, I've just been following your plan, mate.
Did exactly what you told me.
I'm like, my breakfast 2 eggs sort of thing, and I need my carb sort of thing, and and even backstage, all the bigger girls were drinking white wine, and that probably would have smoothed me over. So I was like, what, does this make you tighter? They're like, yeah. I was like drinking white wine, thinking, probably looked like, honestly, and you look back at the pictures, and I looked so soft. I mean, my upper body was great, but I didn't really sort of train my legs then. So I would say my legs had to catch up with my upper body. Got to the British, to the BNBF. I pretty much, if he's listening, he's gonna laugh. So I pretty much like ignored him. So I did it on my own. Got to British, I'm just gonna go to the British, just tip up. What happens. I'm on about 1,400 calories, and then come third. That's when I come third to Yvette Arthur. Right. When I didn't have a clue about anything. Again, I'm just doing all over body workouts. Doing really legs. But come third, and then got a ticket to the world finals. And I was like, I was thinking, maybe I ain't done too bad.
Maybe I'm all right,
Proper in it, and got to the world, and then I competed against a really, really good athlete. You don't compete anymore. Sue her name is, and she had Sue King. She had a few sort of seasons under her belt, and she's amazing, and she's in the police as well, proper hench.
Yeah.
And but like, because I'm so competitive, I think I've got it bag here.
Yeah.
Nah, she's like got condition, and that's the thing. I looked, and it's good that each federation, whatever federation, it's important to get your feedback, because Vicky McCann said to me, she said, "So, you know, you've got the physique, but your condition weren't there."
Yeah.
And I was like, well, surely it should be. I'm on like really little food.
Yeah.
And Rob Waterhouse, who's competing at the Worlds, and he's gone, "You know what, Zoe? You need a coach." So yeah, but I've already done that. He said, no. He said, I'll learn about you and how your body reacts to certain foods and stuff like that. So that's what he did. So between the November, and then I decided to do a back-to-back season.
Yeah.
So between 2017, I took like 3 or 4 months off, and then started to sort of diet around about April. But it was sort of like, did me like a flexi diet just to see how my body did. And it worked out that actually I do need carbs. So, but it ended up like when it went into my season for 2018, I was on shed loads. And it worked out that macro wise, I was on the same amount of food as an 86 kilo guy. And he was like, this is mental, Zoe. What are you doing in the gym? Well, the more food you give me, Rob, the harder I'm going to train, the longer I'm going to train for, because this is brilliant. So you know, I was on average, I mean, like, I'd rather say what I'm on than macro wise, because some people don't know what macros are and that. So on average a day, I was on about 800 grams of potato split between the meals, and then I was on about 120 grams of oats in the morning, which is quite a lot with whey protein and that. And then I was on the same before I went to bed. And then like I'd be like dropping lighter in the morning, like, so just all these carbs and that. So I was on about 2,000 dieting at first. I was on about 2,800 calories dieting, and I was all the time. And then what happened was I did a month, and then it was like, Zoe, and people won't believe this. It's like, you're coming in too quick with this. You're gonna have to have a cheat meal. I was like, nah, I can't do that. And me being military head, if someone tells me to do something, I won't go off plan. I will stick. No, I can't do that. I won't come in condition. I'll put on weight. It's gone, Zoe, listen to me. Today, you're gonna go for a cheat meal. Not drink alcohol, whatever you want. He said he'd prefer to me to keep it clean, like a Wagamama's or a Nando's or something. But Katie was just like, nah, you can't do that. Just go for a burger and chips. I was like, don't know. And then I did it. So I was having like burger and chips every like once a week. And then Rob was saying to me like a couple of weeks in again, he's like, you're gonna have to have another cheat meal. So I was like, what are you on about? He's like, yeah, and one on a Wednesday as well. I was like, oh, I said, no, I don't like this. And but yeah, cut long story short, it ended up the more food I was getting. And who has cheat meals on prep? No one does. So it ended up like I was dropping. And then it's not until like around about, it was 4 weeks out before my first qualifier of 2018. It was like, right, we'll put it all out now, put more carbs in. And then I just, in that 4 weeks, it's immense of my body, how it just changes. And then, I come first in my qualifier, then first in Britain, first in the world. So this is only my second season. Through cards. And then I was like, oh my God, what do I do now? And then that just like, right, you need to sort of like take at least a year off before you compete as a pro. 2019 won the first pro show. And then then I was like, you know what, if I want to go back in 2022, because you don't know who's going to tip up at a pro show, because everyone's in different off seasons and stuff. You know, and I wanted my body to get back to normal as well, because I think doing 2 years back to back seasons as a female, it's important. Like obviously your body, your cycles, periods, and all that stuff. You know you're low, so you need to get that back up again, and your body fat and stuff. So it's, I took 2.5 years off season, and it's the only time when I was like, just let my body do it. Fitting into my clothes, get fluffy. And actually I didn't go that big. I only went up to about, on stage I was about 56 kilos, and I only went up to about 64, which
Yeah.
I'm quite leanish in my off season.
Yeah.
But I think that's why. I think because my output, my training, I still stay fairly leanish, and I think that was my secret. But I don't do no cardio. I don't do no fasted cardio. So if Rob's listening to this, my coach, he's got 30 minutes fasted cardio in the morning.
And you don't do it.
No. So if he's listening, he'll be like, "Oi, why don't you do it?" I don't, because my military job, I'm like always on my feet.
Yeah.
And if I am on a PT session with kit on my back and stuff like that, that's steps really. So
Yeah.
I have got a desk job because I'm a equivalent of like a manager in a gym, but like civvy terms. So, but yeah, I think I spend my time in the gym, and because it's a long session and people don't agree with the way I train, it's just burning off all them calories. I mean, my leg session, when I put a Fitbit on, it's burnt off like 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I spend about.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how long do you spend in the gym?
You're not going to agree with it. People don't listen. It's 4 hours.
Wow, that's a lot. The thing is, right, I think with like what you've said, like about your eating and your training, like it works for you and it's been sustainable for you, and what works for you isn't going to work for the next person, it's working for you clearly. So you're feeling it, you're eating enough food to sustain it and give you the energy to do the session. So it's awesome.
People are like, "What you doing for 4 hours?"
Yeah, what are you doing for 4 hours?
So if you take my rest off, it's probably around about, and taking the plates off, all that. I've timed it. So it's around about 30 minutes. So I'm training for about 3.5 hours. But the thing is, like, for example, I mean, this is legs. So in legs, I will hit every single machine. But then on one leg day, because I do legs twice a week, one at the beginning, one at the end. So my first leg will be like quad dominant. So I'll like do, so if I do squats, as in back and front squat in one leg session, I'll leave my hack to my next one.
Yeah.
But then it's like all the other machines, I will hit every single machine that's in that gym double.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then when I'm training back, I'll do 2 big sessions of back. So they're my big sessions, leg and back. So I'll have, for example, I'll have deadlift. Now I can spend a good, with my rest period, 45. I mean, like today I did 45 to 50 minutes just on deadlift. Yeah. Just like the time I've got my rest. And then it's like, so that'll be that one for the main one. And then I'll hit all sort of like upper and that. And then for the next one, I'll do like rack pulls. Yeah. I take my time. So do rack pulls, and I might throw a few straight leg Romanians in there. Yeah. So then you see how much, so really I've got a lot of volume on my hamstrings, because I'm doing it on, if you think about it, deadlift, Romanians, and then I'm doing hamstring dominant on a leg session. Yeah. So really I'm hitting my hamstrings and my glutes 3 times in 1 week. Yeah. On a rotation, like. Yeah. So yes, that's how, but like I said, it's I put the fuel in as well. You do. Your body's capacity for recovery is incredible. Like that's amazing that you're spending, that long. It's like, what's your split? Are you training 5 times? So I'll go push pull legs. Yeah. And then I would have a day off, but my day off would just be arms. And then I go push pull legs. So but then if I need that day off, I will take it. Yeah. So like if I'm feeling tired, like especially when I'm on prep, I'll take it. But now I'm in my off season, like yesterday I had arms. It was like, well, I don't spend 4 hours on arms because I'll be just like, but I did an hour and a half. Yeah. Just as a sort of like, I'm going to the gym. I've got an hour and a half to do. I'm just gonna do some arms, do some steps, and that's the only CB I do on that. Yeah. And then that's it then. But yeah, I mean, if some people read Arnold's books, how sort of he trained, and people think that I'm mental, especially like some of the guys, some of the gym owners, like, freaking hell, she's still in it. Yeah. But then if you look at the way Arnold trained, he was training like 6 hours a day. like, he would sneak into gyms on an evening because he didn't sort of feel like he got that much out of the first session. But yeah, so he's training like 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening, no CV or whatever. But yeah, Arnold just seemed like a legend. But it's like I said, everyone like trains differently. But the thing is, I'd rather go all out in one big session and not have to wake up and do fasted cardio. Because I've tried it and it just seems like I'm going for the motions, and just one big session. I think even Jack Thorburn, is that how you pronounce his name?
Thorburn.
That's it.
Yeah.
He trains longer than me.
Yeah. I'm actually chatting to him next. So we'll chat to him about the length of his sessions as well.
Yeah, I think he trains for like 5 hours, but then he does cardio in the morning. He does like half full cardio. But so he's like doing even more than me.
Yeah.
And he's one guy as well. Again, his condition's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm not telling everybody to train for that amount of time to get condition, but I think my advice is that find your weakness, which mine was my legs, because it just had to catch up with my upper body. And I do my splits. I just do the bro split, but I hit my leg twice and hit my back twice.
Yeah. So I think, so coming out of your when you decided you were going to take a longer off season than you ever had before, like ended up being 2.5 years. Was that the plan, because you kind of looking at your physique and assessing where you are, even though you won the overall at the Worlds? What was the chat? Was that you planning to bring up your legs in that off season?
The thing is, in 2019, my front of my legs were good, and I didn't have shredded glutes. I mean, you can see my hamstrings coming through. I've always had good calves because I follow my dad. My dad's got massive calves. Genetically, I'm probably a genetic freak, and my dad's quite a hench bloke. So there's some parts of my body that probably genetically I'm just following my dad for. But when you look at, if anybody looks at my Instagram and looks at the 2019, some of the pictures, you can just see that my upper body still needed to catch up with my lower body. But then Rob was telling me, my coach, he said, you need to build more on your quads as well. So he he's really good. So he'll be like, right, send me a video of how you're doing a leg press, for example. And then he'll be like, you know what, Zoe, you've got your feet in the wrong place. You're working more of your adductors more than anything. You're not working your quads and you're not working your hamstrings, sort of thing. So so that's what I think, definitely in my upper body. I mean, my rear double bicep has always been a good shot. But so my rear double bicep, I knew that my hamstrings and my glutes needed to come through more, so I needed to work on them. And then I think my shoulders as well, because I've always suffered with a shoulder injury, so like compensate. But I think my shoulders and my lats, because it's really difficult for a female natural athlete to build upon the lats unless you get really, really big. So I knew that my lats spread, which is probably one of my weakest poses, I need to make sure that I build upon my lats, build upon my shoulders, sort of that sort of like V taper. And even my abs were okay, but now I always do like 4 sets of abs after every workout, because I know that my abs had to come out more, and it showed in 2022 if you look at the difference. So but I think it's getting your coach's advice to say, right, what do I need to work on? And I think like I knew that just 1 year wasn't going to do that, being natural.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's amazing, like coming away from, before even 2022, like coming away from your 2019 season, you've never like rested on your laurels and thought, you know what, this is great, I am, world champion. You've always strove for more, and you've always come back and hit the gym and had a plan and knew what you were working on. What's the plan now? What are you working on now?
Well, I was it's it's difficult, because I need to make sure, because my wife Katie, she's everybody's bodybuilder's dream, if that makes sense. So she understands everything, and everything that I'm putting into my prep and off season and stuff. So it's making sure as well that she's okay with it at the right time. So in my head at the moment, I've had a lot of time to think about it, because I've done 20 years next January. Now, the army, like I said, they're very supportive of it. So I need to sort of compete while I've still got time left in the army, because not everybody can get away from work. I don't know what life's going to be like when I get out of the army. So if I go into a job and them to release me to go to the world championships and stuff. So I've got to be really box clever about, one, getting time off work, which the army support. So I need to do it while I'm still in the army. And two, with my partner as well, making sure it's the right time with everything that sort of fits in with her. But as long as I give her a good off season this year. I want to do more holidays, I'm sorted. So my aim is to, I want to try and get to 70 kilos. Whether I do or not, I do not know. If we go above that, that's brilliant. So it's putting another stone onto what I'm used to. So that's my first goal, to do that by December this year. That's my first goal. And then my second goal is, if I do compete next year, and that'll only be decided by probably my coach, as well as my wife, to say, look, you know what,
real boss,
have enough mass, because I really want to compete in a non-drug tested fed as a natty. And I might have to put a set of heels on.
You might.
I'm not gonna lie, but I just want to sort of push my physique while I've still got that, because obviously I'm 41, and I think, like, when you get to a certain age, you go for the menopause and stuff like that, and I haven't hit that yet, and that's when obviously testosterone decreases, your muscle mass decreases and stuff like that, and you do as you get older. So while I'm in a good place, I want to compete as in a non-drug tested fed, whatever that may be, and then obviously still compete with the WNBF and DFAC as well at the same time. But I mean, it'll be quite a lot on the body, I think, in that year, because to do actually back-to-back competitions and stuff and that, because it does, and you get tired. I mean, it's
you do
competition. You go for a peak week, probably takes you a couple of weeks to sort yourself out.
Even the adrenaline after the show, just coming down from it.
And then it's like, you have a bit of rest, and then you go back into another one and stuff and that. So but that's my aim. I'd like to do it next year.
Well, I mean,
I'll do it if I've built enough size on, and the reason why I do say 70 kilos is because I follow a lot of females on Instagram that obviously are taking steroids and whatever else they're taking. Very, very good athletes, and that's what they're sitting at roughly on average in their off season. But they're all in heels, so they might do like body fitness or whatever they're doing is in a non-tested fed. But then to compete against them, I need to make sure that I'm on enough size. So and they've probably got more years under their belt as well than what I have. So
I suppose it's stepping onto a completely different playing field, isn't it, to step onto the non-tested side of the sport. But it sounds like you have a good plan. I mean, I guess I'm really interested, actually, talking about trying to push to 70 kilos. And you said you weren't hungry even in your leanest at prep, and when your food was lowest in prep. So how do you find pushing food in off season, like to have that goal of 70 kilos? I imagine your food's pretty high.
I mean, if I was to, I don't, I'm probably one of the only bodybuilders that doesn't keep an actual sort of like, I don't track it. I don't really, I know what I'm putting in my body, but then if I need to track it, I will do. So like, for example, one of the guys in my local gym said to me, he said, there's no way you eat that. I was like, I'll tell you what, I'll do an Instagram post and I'll do a tracker for you. So then, because he thought he was on more food than me. So when I tracked it, I mean, this was on a Saturday. So on a Saturday, I do eat like maybe like a pizza for my last meal or something. But so I do got off plan with that sort of thing. But so I tracked it. It was like 4,500 calories.
Wow.
But then when you've put a Domino's pizza in an ice cream, that's probably about 500 straight away. So if you're getting your cleanish meals and like, your rice and your oats and stuff like that, my protein bars are like really high calories as well. So, they're just short of like 350. So that I buy the big sort of cookie ones that are like massive. So, that's what I do. So it's like, it's to get that in, I find that quite easy. The only thing I find difficult is when I've stepped off stage safe with the WNBF.
Yeah.
So that was my final competition. And it was like I was trying to straight away eat that 4,000 calories which I normally would eat in my off season. And I just felt bloated all the time.
Yeah.
And I was getting annoyed with myself because I want to get back to normality. But you got to think, you know, I was only 8.5 stone, just short of on stage. And, you know, now I'm sitting at, you know, 10.5.
Did you feel like you had a high appetite when you go in? Do you feel like you have a high appetite when you go into off season?
Yeah. I've got a high appetite when I'm in and out of my off season. So I think it's important that the reason why I'm on such high amount of food in my off season is, and the reason why I push it so much, and this is important because I think, and as a female athlete, a lot of females still like to stay lean.
Yeah.
And like probably restrict the food a bit so they can still fit into their jeans. I mean, I've got 2 wardrobes. I mean, like I'm having to probably go a couple of weeks time to get another set of jeans, you know, because I can't put my calves into my step.
Every boy who's listened to this is just like, oh, I wish I had that problem that my calves were so big that they didn't fit in their jeans.
I'm being serious, honestly. Like, I went to Primark to get, you know, the slim fit ones. I had to go up with size, right? And it's a nightmare because I'll squeeze my calves into them and they're really tight around my calves because my calves are probably bigger than my quads. Pull them up and then they're massive on the waist. So then my missus takes a mickey at me because my waist was quite small. And then I haven't really got a big bump. So it's like, it's weird, but yeah. So anyway, my food stays really high in my off season. So I have a good season.
Yeah.
If my food weren't high in my off season, then it means no. And there was naming no names when I was went to Cayman Islands and I was prepping all my food and stuff. And like I said, in my season, I'm on about 2,400 calories.
Yeah.
Dropping from all that away from like 4,000 on average. Yeah. 2004 to 2007, depending on if I'm on a high day or whatever. And the majority of that's carbohydrates. So when I'm peeling all these potatoes, and I'm in this accommodation, and one of the girls that's a figure girl, she's like, "Is that all your food?" It's like, "Yeah, why?" And like, I'm pretty much on the same as the guys, like not far.
Yeah.
Right? And she's gone, and she, on no word of lie, she was on like 800 calories.
It's mental, isn't it?
I was like, "Where's yours?" And when I looked at it, she was like, "I prepped it." I was like, "What is that? Is that one meal? Is that 2 meals or something?" And she was like, No, that's my whole day worth of food." And I was thinking, but then I asked her the question, and it's not a coach's fault. I said to her, I said, in your off season, I mean, she's new into the scene anyway.
Yeah.
When you're not prepping, how much food are you roughly on? Just tell me. About 1,400 calories. I said, there you go.
Yeah. Like I think it's crazy, and I think that I spoke to quite a few girls through competing last year as well, and the food's that low. And my food, I think I used to think I used to eat quite a lot on prep, but you have blown my mind. But yeah, like my prep last year, I think the lowest that I went was like 1,800, maybe 1,700, and I'm like a small bit girl, right?
That's good.
Yeah, and because I was like you, like before I started prep, I literally drove my food up as high as I could.
Yeah.
Because I knew you want to start high and then maybe you end up having to go low. But it's when you start low and you just have to go lower and lower and lower. It's incredible, and I think I agree with you there as well when you say you speak to a few people, and quite often they're obviously directed by their coach, and their coach is just having to take food out to bring the weight down, and they're usually quite new to the industry, new to competing. I think what you've said throughout this conversation is you know yourself really well, and you know your body really well, and you're very in tune with what you need and what works for you. And for you, you're like, when I eat more, I actually just output more. I have more effort and intention to give. Whereas I think people, as they go through a prep and the food gets lower and the energy's lower, they just give less. And the only way to continue to lose is to take more food out, right? So you end up on not very much. it's not the best, to be honest. And I always think this sport's about longevity. It's about finding a sustainable way to continue to compete. And when you're on 800 calories and you're miserable, you're not inclined to come back the next year and do it again.
No, and it's, I mean, she comes second in the world, so she didn't do too bad. But then when she was doing her posing and stuff, and I was doing some posing with her, I was like, you know what? I mean, figure's different because obviously they're a lot softer than the women's physique. But I was like, you know what? You could do so much with your physique if you were on more food in the output in your training, because the only thing she was doing was 30 minutes CV, 30 minutes weights. That was it. And I was like, yeah, but and like that's 4 times a week, or whatever. She could get it in. And I was like, you know what? And it's not her coach's fault. It's because she's been on such little before.
Yeah.
To herself, I was like, you know what you need to do is, if you take my advice, is go away for like 1 or 2 years, have a good off season, just bump your food up, even if it's like 1,800 calories, that's your goal. Speak to your coach, or even 2,000, you know, because you'll find that you'll just get bigger and stronger. And then when it comes to your prepping next time and you want to aim, say, your pro card, you know, she really wants a pro card or something, it means that you're not on such little food, and the output training will bring in your condition. I think that's important. The only way you're going to bring in your condition is if you're on the right amount of food. But again, it's your coach needs to have your coach needs to know you.
Yes.
I mean, even me as a pro, I still have a coach to keep me on track, and he obviously he doesn't know that I didn't do any CV, so he knows that, but but he knows me. He knows that, right, Zoe needs this amount of carbs because her output of her training is so high.
Yeah.
And you know, and in the more, like I said, the more food you give me, the more is dropping.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, it's don't get all wrapped up about the scales as well. That's a really good point. So there's times when I've got on the scales and I'll be like thinking about my stage weight, my last year's stage weight, or the season before, whatever, and I've not moved. But actually, the photos I've sent into my coach is like, you know what, Zoe, you're coming in. So my body fat was just dropping, and then actually the scales were staying the same. So that's a really good point to get across to people that don't get wrapped up about scales, to actually what's coming in still.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's funny, like this is the first time I've went into like a structured off season. Obviously last year was my first season, and I was looking at like where I wanted my off season weight to sit and stuff, and I've exceeded that now, and I've actually exceeded the weight that I was pre-prep. My composition is just so different, but it's what you've said, it's coming in and training with intensity and training with intention and putting the food to use and putting it into your sessions. And like my weight, you know, if you get caught on the scale weight and worried about what the scales are saying, you lose sight of what's in front of you in the mirror. And at the end of the day, no one's weighing you on stage, no one's weighing you really in your off season apart from you from an accountability standpoint or whatever it is that you're looking to get from the scales. But if what you're seeing in the mirror or in your check-in pictures is positive, that's the thing to focus on.
100%. 100%. And even reverse, so even in your off season, so as time's gone on, you can see that I've got bigger each year. But the thing is, because I stay quite lean actually, so this year I know naturally I'm going to be heavier in my off season because you've put on that muscle mass. So each year your off season you're going to get heavier, but you might still look as lean. So don't, oh my God, I'm heavier on the scales, I'm too big or whatever. Well, actually, no, you've put more muscle mass on, so actually you're still quite lean. So it's like reverse. Really, when you're sort of thinking in your off season, you're thinking actually getting fat, and you're not. You just put more muscle mass on.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I was really interested in speaking about, and we've spoke about it quite a few times throughout the conversation, was understanding. Obviously, you're working for the British Army, you're a serving member of the British Army, which is fantastic. And I guess my sort of perception always would have been that would have added a level of complexity to your bodybuilding. But I guess you're the best person to tell us what that's actually like. How do the two work together?
I was in with like my day job and my bodybuilding. Wow. I don't think a lot of the army guys would actually believe it, because I probably think that, does she actually work? She's training 4 hours in the gym. She's training in a work time. Now with the job that I've got, because I'm my own boss and I manage my own diary, I could like maybe split up my sessions. So I could do probably like 2 hours like in the daytime if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I think, and then maybe work a little bit later. And I think because of COVID as well, like the military have like give everybody like laptops and stuff, so I can do a lot of work from home out of work hours to catch up sort of thing. But with work and stuff and that, I never ever train in my work time. I never train in an army gym because I get disturbed. So that's two factors. Because the last thing I want is to train in an army gym. I mean, I do if I'm like, you know, if something's happened or whatever, like I can't get to the gym or something. But if I train in my own gym, all I get asked is, staff, like obviously the staff sergeant, staff, can I have some blue roll, please? Oh, how do you do that exercise? Oh, what you, I'm like thinking, you know what, headphones are in. People think I'm quite rude when I'm training, but I'm that into my training. Like everyone's like blocked out. I'm in there, do it. But yes, I don't train in my work time. So I either train like I'll get up at 5, do it then. But if I don't get the 4 hours in all, hit everything, I might split it and then pull it to an evening. But yeah, the army's quite good because like I don't get on a Monday, I get a 10 o'clock start, so I get all my training in the morning on a Monday. Tuesday, I train on an evening. So my job is really busy. Wednesday, you get sports afternoon. So we finish at like 12 o'clock on a Wednesday. People are loving this now. So yeah, the afternoon is like my legs, say, for example, legs Wednesday. And then Thursday, I'll train on an evening. And Friday, we finish at 12. So then I get all the afternoon to train. And then Saturday, Sunday, it's like normally Thursday's my day off. So then Saturday, Sunday, I always train over a weekend because I get up super early. I'm quite lucky because my wife don't get up till about 10 o'clock. So by the time I've done my training and that, she's just getting out of bed. It works out nicely. But yeah, with my work and stuff and that, it fits in because all I'm doing is equivalent to a PT out on Civilian Street. All the PTs done like sort of like mid-morning-ish, sometimes in the afternoons or whatever. So it fits in quite well. But yeah, I never train in work time, and it's never affected it unless I'm getting deployed, which I think things that are going on in the world at the moment, there's no need for, say, PT corps to get deployed. And last time I was deployed, say, Afghanistan was 2014, so I haven't deployed for quite a while. So yeah, I mean, it fits in. I mean, you do get, I've coached some infantry guys before where they'll always be on exercise and stuff and that, and they've struggled with their prep because when they're out on exercise, they've got like army ration packs and stuff and that. And then they're not eating the ration packs because they don't want to put it into them. And then they're just living off rice cakes and stuff, and then looking really flat when they come back. So they're not being able to train for a week. So I've been very lucky with my job that I'm not getting sent away. So, but then I'm very box clever about it. If I know I'm getting sent away, I wouldn't think, right, I'm going to compete this year.
Yeah, of course.
It depends on what job you've got, which to fit in with your lifestyle sort of thing. But yeah, I'm very lucky with my job. Like I said, it's quite easy to fit in. So
and they sound super supportive of it as well, which is incredible too. Not everyone has that, you know. That's
no, they love it. I think they're more so. I mean, I had a good point with them as well because the army going on to like supplements and stuff. So we get like drug testing on average like once every 12 weeks on average. Use sort of like depending on what regiment you're at, and you know, the more CDT team to test you, they might just tip up tomorrow. You don't know when they're going to tip up. So the army followed the informed sports. But actually, I had a good point with my boss to say, you know what I'm actually doing is like it is proper original. Like, even some of the stuff that you can take on the informed sports, you can't take with the WADA. So the WADA is actually more strict. So when you're doing natural bodybuilding, I said to him, like, you know, you have to like be really strict for like a good 10 months at least. I said, plus I think I've done like cross country, I've done triathlon, I've done so many sports in the army where actually I think bodybuilding's harder than any of them because the amount of prep you've got to do for this one competition. So I think that's why they look up to it as well, because of what I'm doing naturally, as well as like how long it takes me to prep for a competition.
And I can imagine you mentioned like the military mindset earlier about, you know, you get told this is the plan and you're going to stick to the plan. I can imagine that's an asset in a prep. Unless you're like you and you need to have multiple cheat meals, but I can imagine it's an asset.
Yeah, I think Rob says to me, he said, I'm probably one of the easiest athletes for him to coach because he hasn't got to worry about me. So then when he's not contacting me, it's because he knows I can do it on my own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, Rob, I need to know if I can have a few extra carbs. I need to tell me, because if you don't tell me, then I'm not going to put it in my mouth.
Yeah.
And it was a good point because I think it was in 2019 and it was on my peak week and I was starving. I don't know why. I just had an off day and I was really, really hungry. And I ate all my food by like 6 o'clock, all my meals. I didn't wait, just ate them all. Right. So I text Rob and I said, look, mate, I'm on my last day of my peak week. I'm obviously getting my carb refeed tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm really, really hungry. Can I just have something like some eggs or something?
Yeah.
He didn't get back to me, did he? Right. So then I'm texting him and he's still not getting back. I'm really hungry. Katie said to me, she's gone, Zoe, just have 2 eggs. She said, he's not going to touch the sides. Don't worry about it. It's like, I don't know. That could ruin my condition. Like, so you know what? It took to about 10 o'clock. I was like, sod it. I'm cooking 2 eggs. So then I cooked 2 eggs, and then believe it or not, I got on the scale. I started to worry about it then. Got on the scales the next day. I was like, nah. I was actually lighter. I dropped like 0.5 of a kilo. And then Rob got back to me with my carb refeed and that. But before he even said that, it's gone, why didn't you just have some carbs though? He said, you know what to do. And I was like, yeah, but Rob, you know what I'm like? It was like that army head. I'm like, you know, tell me. I was like, and I had 2 eggs, and I was like, I felt really guilty. And he was laughing, like, you know what, so he said, you know what I would have given you? I said, what? He's gone, I'll give you a whole lot of carbs. I'll give you about 100 grams of food before you went to bed and all this lot. Yeah, but I'm on my peak week. It was, but you would have dropped anyway, don't worry about it. I was like, oh God. So, but again, you don't have to worry about scales. I was already in condition by that time anyway. So but yeah, it's the army that does it. I'm so rigid with it that my diet don't ever. I mean, that's the only time I went off plan by having them 2 eggs.
Oh my goodness, how dare you? 2 eggs.
About 120 calories.
I think that's, for a lot of people, the adherence is the hard part, and listening to your ability just to switch it on and be able to drive forward and stick to the plan is something that they would probably aspire to. And I love that your challenge actually is the opposite, is like being a little bit more kind to yourself, I suppose. If you need to take a step back, you can, but I mean, your condition speaks for yourself, for itself, and I think that a lot of that is down to the fact that you just do stick to the plan. There's just never a deviation from the plan.
Yeah, that's a top tip. If you're ever hungry and you can get through to your coach, just speak to him. Because like Rob said to me, he said he's had clients when he was like speaking about me having them 2 eggs. He said he's had clients that have pretty much raided the whole cupboard.
Yeah,
like I didn't like a whole loaf of bread and that. I was like, really? Done, yeah. He said they've gone absolutely mental. So he said, he said, having 2 eggs, don't worry about it. But he said, like, it's obviously it's his fault for not contacting me. I think he was traveling or something, so that's the reason why. But yeah, it's, if you're ever hungry, just because obviously coaches, depending on what coach you have, we've got a lot of clients where they might have like 5 or 6 clients doing like a peak week. So it's like to get in contact with all them, it's probably quite difficult as a coach as well to sort of get back in contact with that person on time, to sort of like make sure that they are getting food in before whatever. So but yeah, definitely, if you ever feel hungry, don't go, just speak to your coach.
Go speak to them. I think communication's key, isn't it? And I think that it should never be to the point that you feel like you need to go raid the cupboard. Like if you're getting that urge, you have to speak to them and say, look, I'm really hungry. But yeah, it does happen. I think that that's maybe happens when you don't feel like you can speak to someone and say that you need a little bit extra support, or can I have an extra couple of eggs, please?
I tell you what, I learned my lesson from that.
Yeah, you did. I'm sure you did. So we're fast approaching the first show of the WNBF UK calendar this year, the 2023 First Timers and Novice Championships. So what advice do you have for first time athletes prepping for this first show?
Let me just double check what I wrote down. Yeah, so well, first thing is get a good coach. I think just do your research as well, like, because the last thing you want is to get a coach that hasn't got a clue. And if you don't like that coach, be honest with them. Like, I just went off and didn't contact. So I think just getting that coach who knows you. Like, I know Rob knows me. I will not go to anybody different. You know, if I worked with another coach, they might know me, but I think it's just do your research. Definitely get a coach. Don't do it on your own like I did at the beginning as well, because, you know, you find that a coach can just keep you on track.
Yeah.
Now, Rob doesn't do my training. I do my own training plan because it's mental. So he just does my food. So, but then he knows me with my food. So it's definitely get somebody that's maybe achieved something as well. Like Rob, obviously, he's achieved a lot in his bodybuilding career. You know, he's been competing since the age, I think, like 17 or something. So it's just getting somebody that's maybe, even if they haven't got the pro card, it doesn't matter if they haven't got the pro card, but somebody that's been on the scene for a while, that does posing classes, that knows what he's doing, you know, because, like, again, Rob does posing and stuff, like one-to-one and that. So, you know, straight away that coach knows what he's on about. Because, again, posing's a big thing. So, so getting a coach that sort of is well-educated, you might have to pay. So you sort of think, well, I'm saving money on prep anyway because you're not going out. So I'm going to put that money into a decent coach. And then, obviously, if they don't do it, get somebody that's really good at posing. I mean, one that I haven't been to is with Steph. I've never done a posing session with Steph or McCann. You know, I've never, you know, they're two women that, because I always had my posing from either Darren Loxton or Rob Waterhouse. So I've always gone to a guy. So it's sort of getting sort of different, both male and female, depending on a male or female athlete. It doesn't matter, because you find that maybe a female posing coach can actually work better with a male athlete, because they make more of a flow rather than a do you see what I mean? Very, like, you know, so that, you know, it's getting somebody to sort of make your poses flow better and not so, like, really sort of like tense and strain and like you look like really awful holding that pose, not being more relaxed with your posing. Because that's one thing that one of my first competitions, and it's pretty much carried on all the way up until I was a pro, was posing. Even I mentioned to Steph again, I was like, how was my posing? They won't care about anything else. Didn't care about my hamstrings and my glutes. I absolutely, like, shredded. I was worried about my posing. But you definitely still need work. So even double pro, it's just those sort of, like, I mean, front lat spread, I just really find it difficult to get into. So posing. Again, we've has WNBF got like a supplement where you can check your supplements before you take them? Have they got like a Facebook page?
I don't think that they have that on the website, but I think that they'd have the direction to the WADA website, the WNBF UK website, and you can check it all there.
I think that's the other thing is with, like, supplements. I know the BNBF, they have a page, so you before you buy it, you'll take a snapshot and you'll put it on there, because there has been situations where you know, when you go into local gyms and then you take a scoop of pre-workout, and then before you know it, you think you can get it off them. Well, actually, it's okay when sometimes there's ingredients in there that you shouldn't be taking, and then it's only like probably one scoop. But it's, you know, that could come upon a drug test. So it's getting you sort of, like, don't just go out and buy anything. It's making sure that it's checked, or even text someone like Steph, like if it's WNBF, you know what, Steph, double check, is this okay? Just to sort of make sure that you can take it. What else did I put on there? And the only final one is this, obviously, with your weaknesses. So, like, mine was my legs. I used different gyms to bring them on. So, like, it's going to sort of, you know, it's might go up and down, sort of like country or, you know, like travel, like I'm living in Thetford at the moment, but I know that 50 minutes down the road I've got a gym called Heroes in Kingsley.
Yeah.
And their machines for legs are
Yeah.
amazing. So it's like just traveling a little bit further, just sort of like, well, one, it's different scenery, sort of like keeps your mind in it and focusing sort of set, but it's if you've got a weakness and you need to go to other gyms just to vary it up a little bit. I mean, at one point in my prep I had 3 gym memberships.
Yeah.
It's mental. I'm not planning ever to do that, but I knew that one gym was really good for legs and one gym was really good for back, and then I just use my army gym if I needed it. So it's it's just using different variation of gym to sort of bring yourself out a bit more. That's it really, and that's all I wrote down. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's really helpful. I'm sure people have got loads from that, and just loads from the whole chat actually. It was so great to hear from you, Zoe, and you've given us lots to think about. Wonder how many people are going to be pitching up in the gym for 4 hours now.
No guy will train with me, put it that way. No guy will train with me. Yeah.
Okay, so I can't end today's episode, Zoe, without going through the quick fire question round. So I'm going to ask you 10 rapid fire questions and I need you to answer them instinctively, okay? The first thing that comes into your head. Yeah, I know, I didn't prep you for this. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, go.
Okay, cream of rice or protein oats?
Oh, protein oats.
Post-show meal of choice?
Post-show meal? Oh, burger and chips.
Yeah. Pump or stim pre-workout?
Stim.
High rep range or low rep range?
High.
Steps or Stairmaster?
Dips. Is it a dips?
Steps, walking.
Steps or Stairmaster? Oh, step, sorry.
That's my Scottish accent. Free weights or machines?
Oh, free weights.
Are shows one from the front or one from the back?
One from the back.
Off season or prep?
Prep.
Best part of show day?
Oh, it's you guys.
Oh, yeah, I agree. That's my
guys at the end. It's the team meal.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And favourite thing about being a natural bodybuilder?
Well, I think, this is a hard one.
That's a hard one. I know.
I think, it doesn't matter. Can't get my words out. It doesn't matter what stage you're at. If you're a beginner or you're a pro, I think the good thing about being a bodybuilder is that you can just work on your weaknesses to make yourself look bigger and better. It's like, for example, when I was running cross country for the army, I'd always come in the top 10, but I'd never come first. But it's like I could only run that pace. I could never run quicker. But with bodybuilding, you can always progress.
Yes,
I think, and you can always build on it. So I think that's a good thing about bodybuilding is that you might not be at the front at the beginning, but if you keep working on it, you will head that way. Yeah.
And you're always going to be a better version of you. Yeah, I love that. I love it. All right. Thank you so much, Zoe, for sitting down with me for this chat. And thank you to everyone listening at home. I know that you're all walking away with notes from this week. I know that I am. So 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be back for episode 7, and it's time to speak to the man that is Jack Thorburn, our 2022 WNBF UK Men's Open Bodybuilding Medium Champion and 4th place WNBF Worlds 2022 Middleweight Bodybuilder. Jack's one of the largest and most open and honest personalities in the natural bodybuilding scene, and I'm really looking forward to recording this all in a few weeks' time for you. So until episode 7, thank you again so much, Zoe, and thank you to everyone at home for listening. Have a great couple of weeks. This has been the WNBF UK podcast.
Check out CNP, our sponsors, and sign up for our events at WNBFUK.com.